Hi there, I'm Kimberly Mutar, and you are joining us for Q&A Thursday. Great to be back with you. I look forward to spending the next few minutes talking with you about how to motivate your kids. Great topic. But our Q&A Thursday is your place to get your questions answered that you have about parenting, doing school at home, working from home, the right words to say to your kid. You can ask away. This is your safe place. You be you, I'll be me, and we'll work together to get your questions answered. Some real solutions to the things that you're facing at home each day. So let's get started with this question on how to motivate our kids and rewards. So our first question, oh, by the way, I wanted to mention, grab a pen and a paper. I'm going to give you some scripts or suggested words that you can say to your kids to help motivate them. So grab that piece of paper, grab that pen, and get ready to write. So our first question comes from Mel, and she asks, how do I help motivate my child in their learning when they don't want to do it? So Mel's question is specific to motivating her child when it comes to schoolwork, but I'm going to give you some other suggestions, not just for schoolwork, but also for helping to motivate your children when it comes to doing chores, when it comes to helping around the house. So hopefully we'll get all of that in for you today. Now, you know when your kids say, oh, Mom, do I have to do that? And I don't know if you're like me, I want to say, yes, you do need to do that, whether you like it or not. And you know, I know that that doesn't quite motivate them to do it, does it? So here's my suggestion for you. Ask a question. Ask your children a question. And here's where you can get ready to write some of these scripts. Would you like to take a little bit of time to do your schoolwork, or would you like to take a long time to do your schoolwork? You can ask that question. Should you work with focus and excellence, getting your work done in a short amount of time, or get distracted, play around, doodle for a really long time? Would you like the privilege of playing your iPad later today? That reward only comes when you've completed your schoolwork with focus, a good attitude, and with excellence. Those are some questions that you can ask to motivate your children. What would it mean for you today if you approach this work with an I can do this attitude? See, the idea behind asking the questions is to shift their mindset, to discover their own source of motivation. What are they thinking about? What is their why? Do they want this enough to work really hard for it? Will they be their own cheerleader? That's why you want to ask them the questions. Here's a few more. How can you remember to do your chores every morning when you wake up without being asked? How come you are letting that fear hold you back when there's a really big chance that that will not happen? Would you be willing to take all that amazing energy that you have and right now and use it to get your chores done? Ask these questions calmly in a positive tone of voice and smile. Now, here's what I need to watch, my tone of voice, because you and I can ask all the right questions of our kids, but with the wrong tone of voice. And so it sounds like we're being a negative and we're judging them and they're not good enough. So for me, I believe fiercely for my kids that they can do the hard stuff. They can face that math problem and they can get it. I want them to believe the truth about who they are and who they can grow to become. I want to see them reach for something higher, right? And sometimes with that really strong passion for them and also a really strong dislike for bad attitudes, I can come across with a really strong negative tone of voice, which makes them feel like they're not good enough. So I encourage you to ask those questions with a positive tone of voice as well. They go hand in hand. Ask them the questions so that you can determine their motivation. They have to come up with what their motivation is. What is their why? Why do they want it strong enough to work even though they don't want to? Okay. So while we're talking about motivation, I want to make sure that I mention to relate or to empathize with your kids. So here's a suggestion. Here's a script. Say it's their times tables. I know that it takes time and effort to memorize your times tables. But wouldn't it feel great if when I asked you, what is 6 times 9, that you knew the answer right away? And wouldn't it feel great if when you are doing division, and division is really easy because you know the opposite of division is multiplication, and you know your times tables really well. That would be a great question. First, you started with your empathizing. I know that it takes a lot of time and effort to memorize those times tables. And then you've asked them the question. You've painted the picture for them of what it could be like if they knew their times tables really well. That's the power of your questions. Here's another one. This is about doing school online. So I know that we are in a unique situations right now of doing school at home. And I know it's different. It's a challenge doing school online and not being in the classroom where your teacher can help you and you can be with your friends. But how can we make this work for you? How can we make the best of this online school and get their input? How can we learn everything that we can now so that next year when you are sitting in the classroom with your teacher and he says, class, today we are going to review parabolas, and you're not like, oh no, what is a parabola? Because you chose not to do it. Wouldn't it be great if you had a good foundation for your math now? How can we make this online school work the best it can for you now? Another great question, okay? I know that motivating our kids is not easy, but have you ever found it hard to motivate yourself? I mean, even as adults, don't we get tired? We get in the slumps. We feel unmotivated. Maybe we procrastinate a little bit on something we know we should do. We feel overwhelmed and we wish we could take a break. Well, isn't it kind of silly to think that our kids won't ever feel the same way that we do? So let's ask them, is this one of those times when it's really hard and you just don't understand how to do this math? Or is this one of those times when you just really don't want to do what you've got to do right now and you feel unmotivated? Great question to ask them. Is this one of those times when? Ultimately, we want to teach our kids personal responsibility for their schoolwork, for their chores, for being a team and helping around the house, right? And their education. So they help to make the mess around the house. They can help to clean it up. They dirty the dishes. They can help to load and unload the dishwasher. It's their math homework. It's not mine. It's their science project. It's not my responsibility to do. So in appropriate ways, as per their age and their ability, you can hold them responsible for what they need to do, whether they feel motivated to do it or not. Just like we're responsible for the housework, or you're responsible for a project at work, or a deadline that you need to meet, or a presentation, or a certain number of sales calls. It's all the same thing. But here's what you can do. You can ask them in advance. Okay, you know that their responsibility is to do their schoolwork. Ask them in advance, what will be the consequence when you do not get the work done? What will be the consequence? They could come up with their own consequence, or you could suggest two and they pick between one of the two consequences. But just like in your workplace, in your business, if you do not have something done by a certain time, well, there are results or consequences. And so we can, according to their age and their ability, make our children responsible as well. So here's another one. What if your children are really struggling? What if the math or the science is just really hard? That's why it's so hard to motivate them. It's just really challenging. Well, there's a lot of things to say here. So let's talk specifically about school first. Do they have the resources that they need to help them to understand it? Is there a YouTube video that they could watch? Maybe their textbook just isn't clearly explaining it enough. Is there a grandpa or an uncle that you could call up and you could ask them to help explain the problem to them so that they can understand it better? Besides, they'll know how to do it, right? Do they just need a little extra practice? Do they need more time to understand it? Can you get an online tutor? All of those are options or questions that you can problem solve through to help understand how to help them when they're really struggling, if it's just too hard. Do they need to walk away and take a break and just clear their heads and come back when they're focused and with a better attitude? Could you change things up for their school instead of doing the same thing every single day? Could you play a few games? Could you make like a relay activity? Could you make a fun puzzle game with their spelling words? Could you throw a ball back and forth and give them their times tables like that? Could you change things up a little bit? And that would help make them more excited about doing school, and they'll feel more motivated. Here's one that I want you to consider for yourself. Have you ever said, wow, when I was a kid, math was so hard. I mean, I couldn't do it. I felt stupid asking my questions. I hated math. And you've said that over and over and over again, and then your children have picked that up and said, oh, math was hard for mom. This is really hard for me, so I must not be good at math. And that's the story that they're beginning to believe, when it doesn't have to be their story. Our words are so powerful. So consider that when they're really, really struggling. What words are we saying? Going back to their mindset, what are they believing about themselves and their schoolwork? When it's really hard and you've addressed all of those basic things like, can we watch a YouTube video? Is their textbook not explaining it well enough? Those sort of things. I want you to think about their mindset. I want you to teach them that they have a choice that they can make. You and I have a choice that we can make when things get hard. You can choose to believe a lie about this math. You can choose to believe that it's too hard. I'm just going to give up. It's easier to give up. Why even try? I mean, why do I even need to learn those things? You can believe that lie, or you can believe the truth. You can say, who said I'm not smart enough? Who said I can't do math? Who said to give up anyway? Who said I'm never going to need to use this someday when I grow up? What is the truth here that I need to believe? Wow. Don't you just love those stories about that you hear about kids when they're in school and they're dyslexic and they can never read or hardly read a book, and then they grow up and they start their own business or they write their own book, they become a millionaire. I mean, at some point in their life, didn't they have to change their mindset? Didn't they have to say, wait a second, that was then. This is now. I want something different for my life. Whoever said that I can't do it? I don't know about you, but I want that for my kids. I want that for my life. When I face something hard, wait a second, what's the lie I'm believing here? And what's the truth that I need to believe instead? So, and I'm talking to you from a mom's heart, right? If we can be consistent, if we can be really intentional about asking our kids those questions, teaching them that you have a choice that you can make. You can choose to believe this lie that it's too hard, I can't get it, or you can choose to see the truth. And what is the truth here in this moment? What's the truth that I can believe? If we can work through that with them, we are setting them up for success for their future, because when they're an adult, they can be asking those same questions. And that's what I want for my kids. I know that you want that for your kids too. All right. Another thing about motivation, and I know I'm not giving you any easy answers here, right? No quick fixes with this motivation thing. But I'm giving you my heart, and it will take us intention. It will take us purposeful, staying in the hard moments with our kids and helping them see the truth. And okay, so the other thing is no bad attitude. Don't let your kids have a bad attitude. Have like an allergy to a bad attitude, right? In our home with my kids at a very young age, in our homeschooling journey, with my oldest daughter, when she would have a bad attitude towards her work, I would just really patiently, with a smile, calmly take her book. I would close it up. I would put it under my arm. I'd smile, and I would say, I will not work with you when you have a bad attitude like that. I will come back and be glad to work with you when you have a heart that is ready to learn with a good attitude. Now, I know a child's personality, and it showed in her response. It was, no, Mommy, don't leave me. I will work with a good attitude. But still to this day, I say the same thing. Calmly, with a smile, I cannot work with you with this bad attitude. I will be glad to come back and work with you when you are ready to choose a good attitude. Because the reality is, someday, when they grow up and they are a CEO or they are an employee in a company, it is not acceptable to throw up their hands, to shout at me, to cry, to have a bad attitude when the going gets tough. I don't want them to be known as a CEO or a business person who makes sure everybody knows when the boss isn't happy and acts unprofessional and can't calmly communicate her feelings and her thoughts. So it's about them being faithful now in the little things so that they can be trusted with much. If they can be faithful, if we can help them learn to choose a good attitude and to keep going, to stay motivated, even when they don't want to, well, then they will choose that. When they grow up into their adult years, it will be their default reaction. I want that for me. I want that faithfulness in the small things so that I can be trusted with much. So get out of here, bad attitude, right? Say that. Get out of here, bad attitude. I hope that helps. We do have another question with motivation, so let me share it. Mel also asks, should I use motivation and rewards for my child to complete a task? So this answer I'm going to give you actually comes from Speak Life Badges I Am Priceless script book, our second script book, and it talks all about rewards. So yes, you can give rewards. That's my answer. So rewards can come in extra favor, added favor, extra privileges. It could be a simple thing as a treat like a lollipop or an ice cream cone. It could be staying up later. It could be choosing a special movie for the family to watch. It could be a mommy-daddy date. Anything that motivates your child. You can ask them, hey, what would you like to earn after doing, your certain required things, right? You tailor that reward to something that motivates them. Maybe you have a chore chart that lists all the chores that they're to do, and you have a reward that they could earn at the end of the week for doing all their chores with excellence, without being asked, and completely, so that you, mom, don't have to come behind them and finish the task. You could have a reading chart, so they've read so many books, and then at the end of reading that many books, they would get a special prize. You can give a thumbs up if you remember and loved Book It with Pizza Hut. Yeah, I was like, hey, I would read all the books so that I can get my own personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. So it's okay to give rewards. Even as adults, we like rewards, right? That may come in the form of a pay raise, a gift card, a promotion, a sale that we make. Speak Life Badges are sticker awards that you can give to your kids. We want you to give them to your kids so that they can wear it, they can own it as you speak your words of life over them, your words of belief. So like, I share, I forgive, I choose right, I speak the truth. Rewards like this: I am diligent, I am faithful. When they are sticking to their task and they're staying motivated, you can give them those sticker awards that says I am diligent or I am faithful. Okay? The best reward though, and that's what is mentioned in the I Am Priceless under I Am Hardworking, is this. And this is what I encourage you to share with your kids, is that the best reward is doing your work as best as you can. That's the ultimate reward. It's the satisfaction of knowing that they did a job well done. You can say to your child, you have worked hard. I am proud of you, and you can be proud of what you have accomplished. Doing what is right, like making your bed, cleaning up your toys when you're done playing with them, staying focused on your schoolwork, working really diligently, helping your brother or sister, or honoring your brother and sister when you're playing. That's doing the right thing. That's a job well done, and that's the best kind of reward that there is. At the end of the day, when no one's looking and no employer, no employee is handing out gift cards, if they know that they've done their very best, that's what matters. That's the best reward. I also wanted to mention our At Home with the Kids episode, which shares how you can get your kids motivated to clean up after themselves. I'll take that. So be sure to go to our Speak Life Badges Facebook page, also on our website, speaklifebadges.com. You can watch At Home with the Kids. That was this past Tuesday's episode. I hope that helps. It's been really great discussing how to motivate our kids. Even after this video is over, I would love for you to share in the comments what is one takeaway, one thing that you're going to do, or one script that you're going to say to your child to help keep them motivated. I did want to mention one more thing before we go. I know your time is precious, but I wanted to ask if you have signed up your child yet for our Austin's Kids Club. Austin, our fun-loving hedgehog, here he is, has lots of fun mailbox surprises for your kids. Free for kids ages 3 to 13. We would love for them to come to their mailbox and find a little surprise in there with their own name on it from Austin. So you can sign them up and go to speaklifebadges.com, and under the freebies tab you will be able to sign your child up for Austin's Kids Club. I wanted to mention that so far Austin's Kids Club has 201 members, so we are sending mail to 201 amazing kids. That's in 2 provinces in Canada, and that is in 18 U.S. states. And our goal is by December 2020 that we will have 1,000 kids in Austin Kids Club. So if you know of any kids, grandchildren, who would really love to get some mail, really treasure that mail and keep it, then would you go ahead and sign up your kids for Austin's Kids Club. Also, we would love to see 1,000 of those kids. All of our amazing Austin Kids Club members have a Speak Life Badges I Am Loved journal for kids. This is over 90 pages of fun activities, crossword puzzles. They can keep their Speak Life badges that they have earned. I'll just find that page quickly. They can journal about those. There are declarations. There are teaching pages in here about fear, about believing the truth. What is the lie? What is the truth that I can believe? How they distinguish between the two. There are pages in there about bullies and what to do when they're made fun of. I mean, this I Am Loved Kids Journal is meant to grow with them. So it's great for kids ages 7 to 13, and it will be something that they'll keep coming back to again and again. So if you would like to look into that, the I Am Loved Kids Journal, you can go to speaklifebadges.com and you can shop on our page there. That's it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I am cheering you on as you love on your kids. We are in this staying at home, doing school at home, working from home thing together. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can email your questions to me at Kimberly at speaklifebadges.com. I am here for you. Have a fantastic day.